Greetings, Culturians, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we've got to talk about Spider-Man, but a new one. That's right, it looks like Spider-Man 5 has the green light, and if you don't want to believe me, believe the Sony boss. In fact, here we go. Sony says yes. What great news for us, but what great news for me. You have a chance to subscribe to the channel if you're not already. If you can, hit the subscribe button, do so. It's free. Then click the bell icon, turn on all notifications, hit the thumbs up button. Let's get into the story. Come to us from Cosmic Book News and Matt McGloin himself. Spider-Man 5, Sony boss says yes, as Tom Holland and Zendaya want back in. I mean, why not? This film already made giant amounts of money. Not just amounts, E-mounts. I mean, like Mount Everest worth of money. And it's on its way to even more. If this thing doesn't hit $2 billion, I will be surprised. But what matters the most is the bottom line. And the bottom line for Spider-Man is it's just a money printing machine. It's the only part of Marvel that's still working, at least for right now. And going into Avengers Doomsday, I'm going to say it's still the only thing emerging that's successful from that. But let's get into the story. The biggest opening weekend in movie history comes with an obvious follow-up question, and Sony's boss just gave the only answer that matters. Speaking to Variety as Brand New Day Victory Lap begins, Sony Pictures Motion Picture Group Chairman, CEO Tom Rothman was asked whether the studio is really going to let Tom Holland walk away after a debut like this, especially with Holland saying a succession plan is already laid out for the next Peter Parker. And here's the thing. He answers this question easily, saying, I love these questions. It's like when a coach wins a Super Bowl and he goes to the press conference and they say to him, are you going to win it next year? Rothman said, the honest truth is that we don't know at this point. This has been the focus of our studio for almost 2 years. I can tell you this, I certainly hope. I heard Tom say at some point that he wanted to continue, and we would love it if he did. And it would be surprising if he didn't. In fact, I know the interview that the Sony boss is referring to, and Tom indicated he'd do it for as long as they wanted him. Well, no kidding. Not to mention, I imagine that he and Zendaya probably only have a couple more years till they go to start up a family, so they need to do these in short order. And he was pressed on this particular thing, and let me tell you, that doesn't come very often with a studio head. And they were asking if there's another world where Spider-Man sequel with Holland happens, and Rothman kept it to one word. Yes. That one word arrives with historic leverage behind it. Brand New Day just dethroned Avengers Endgame with $360 million domestic debut, the biggest opening weekend ever, on the way to a global launch that ranks second all time with $2 billion in sight and a record 24.1 million tickets already sold. Rarely do we find out actual ticket sales, and today I've seen that number twice, 24.1 million. That's an enormous number of butts and seats, and we don't see that very much anymore. What's great about that is it also tells us that even without IMAX, you can get everybody into the theater to see one thing. And Holland and Zendaya say, we would love to. The co-stars are already on the same page, asked about the Spider-Man 5 in a press tour video, with seriously making the rounds on TikTok. Holland and Zendaya answered in tandem. I mean, we would love to. As long as if it's in the cards, Holland continued. It's a little unclear right now, but I'm sure whatever happens with Spider-Man will be very bright. It will be great, Zendaya added, no matter what. And lovely, said Holland. Well, that tells you a lot. I think it tells you more than you need to know. They're definitely on the same page, and it sounds like positive news. It's a payday. And let me tell you, they are two of the highest paid people in Hollywood right now after two massive successes in a row between The Odyssey and Brand New Day. But everything points to Tom returning for Spider-Man 5. Sony may not be ready to announce Spider-Man 5, but everyone involved is already pointing in the same direction. Rothman says there is, yes, a path forward for Sony, and they would love to do it. If Holland continues, Holland says he would love to return. Zendaya is open to coming back, And Marvel Studios' partnership with Kevin Feige and Amy Pascal just delivered the biggest domestic opening movie in history. And you know what? It's funny because it's a partnership film. It's not something Marvel could do on their own. First of all, they don't have the character. And second of all, I think they've fallen off of the plot. Holland may have a succession plan in mind, but he may even have a name for the second Spider-Man. I think I know who that is, but the handoff does not appear to be happening anytime soon, which I think is good for all of us. So the studios do not move on from a leading man who just knocked Avengers Endgame out of the record books. They're going to want to hold on to him for a long time. This is a great article. You can check it out over on Cosmic Book News because I think Matt McGloin nails it. Ultimately, why would you get rid of the most bankable man in Hollywood? Movie stars don't come along at all anymore. There's no studio-made stars because they forgot how to do it. And there are no created stars anymore, at least not in recent memory, outside of maybe Glenn Powell and perhaps Timothée Chalamet. But I'm not even sure that outside of Tom Holland, we can get another, let's say, Henry Cavill level star if we wanted to. They just don't seem to be popping up anymore, and that's why we continually hear the same names over and over and over again. I mean, if you agree with me, let me know in the comment section below. But look, you have a built-in winner every time you go to Spider-Man. If you keep the character where it's supposed to be, and as he's aging up, you keep him more adult-focused and a little bit more mature, then, hey, you're going to have a big win in the theaters. And the fact that if you've watched my previous video on the matter, they are returning to IMAX with Brand New Day this coming weekend. And if you didn't see that video, well, it's right up there, so you can check it out anytime, along with all the other Spider-Man coverage I have been doing. And with all that being said, I would appreciate you watching my review because I really tried to sell the film to you, and I hope you went to see it for that reason or any other, because I want films like this, of this quality and of this status, to succeed regularly, and it can't happen without you. I also want films like this in the future, so let's give Hollywood a blueprint for success so they can print money again. Because this is a film, along with Odyssey, that made one weekend worth of box office look like what summer should look like. And with that all being said, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya. Hopefully at the next Spider-Man movie, if not at Brand New